The URC Quarter Finals are done. What a round of games we had. It's now time for the semi-finals, but in this video, I'm going to be giving my review of the quarterfinal games. What a batch of games. There were some really good games there. Not the closest games, which honestly did surprise me, but there were some really good performances from some very good teams. Let's get right into it. But before we do, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. There's going to be a lot more rugby content coming out. Previews, predictions, player ratings. I might do a player ratings this weekend for the semi-final games for the URC. I know there's been a few people that have asked for it as well, so stay tuned for that one as well. A lot more international rugby happening as well. I cannot wait for that, and I will be covering all the tier 1 international teams for the International Nations Championship games. I'll be covering every single one of those games, every single one of those teams. This is not just a South African rugby channel, it's a channel for all the countries' teams. So if you do enjoy all the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Alright, the first quarterfinal this weekend was Glasgow vs Connacht. This was a really good game to watch and probably the better quarterfinal to really watch from these games. Connacht came out fighting. They started off really strong, and I thought honestly before the game that Connacht had a fighting chance. Out of all the teams that were playing this weekend, I thought Connacht had the best chance of winning their quarterfinal. That's not taking anything away from Glasgow. I probably believe Glasgow right now is a top 1 or top 2 team in this competition, probably behind Leinster right now because Leinster is looking really strong. But Glasgow at home is always going to be a tough team to beat. They have some very good Scottish international players that play some really expansive rugby, and guys like Sione Tuipulotu, Rory Dodge, Matt Fagerson, Jack Dempsey, and the likes of Kyle Steyn really showed why they are such high-class international players, why they've played so many games for the international teams, because they just put on an absolute clinic in the second half. They were really good, and I think as a team Glasgow really gels well together. But that being said, I have to honestly congratulate Connacht on the season they've had. They had a really good season, and with so many non-Irish players in their team as well, like non-Irish international players, they did very well. There were some really good players that stood out this year, some guys that also weren't internationals that are now after the Six Nations become international players, and guys really kind of knocking the door down for an international cap, and guys that normally maybe don't feature in the starting 23, maybe they're doing a 50-50 basis, that have now kind of shown that they have what it takes to be full-time starters for the international team. So Connacht can honestly leave this season being proud of their performance, and I think honestly if Connacht played any other team in the quarterfinals, probably besides the Bulls, it would be a much closer game for them. So well done to Connacht, and also well done to Glasgow for making the semi-final. Their next semi-final game is going to be against the Bulls at Murrayfield Stadium, but I've already done a video for that. The preview and prediction is coming out right after this, so stay tuned for that. So if you have watched this video, go right to that one after this. You're going to really enjoy those preview and predictions. They are going to be probably not the predictions you're thinking of, so it's very exciting to see what's going to happen there. Moving on to the next game, we had the Bulls versus Munster at Loftus Versfeld. The Bulls put on a clinic once again. I know I'm saying the word clinic a lot because the Bulls really played so well. All the home teams this week played some phenomenal rugby, and the teams that played away from home, except for Connacht, just looked out of it. They looked like they were out of their depth. They just didn't look like they were comfortable to be there, and they just couldn't keep up with the home sides. The Bulls were really good. Ambrose Papid with another man of the match performance. At this stage, he's honestly guaranteed a Springbok call-up this season, guaranteed some Springbok game time, and he deserves that. I mean, 2 tries in a quarterfinal, looking like the best scrum off currently in South Africa. He honestly is. I know there's other guys that have played Springboks for the last few years, but Ambrose Papid right now probably is the best player in the URC this season, which is amazing because he went through a period where he played for the Springboks and then another period where he didn't get selected for about 6 years. So to see him back in the squad and to potentially get some game time will be absolutely awesome. Of course, that being said, Munster didn't have 2 of their key players, Tide and Jack Crowley, which I think would have made a difference, but I don't think those 2 players would have been the reason why Munster would have beat the Bulls. This Bulls team right now is really clicking at a high level. They're on the same page. They've got a lot of synergy. They're gelling very well together, and I think this team going forward in this competition is going to be very difficult to beat with all their players healthy and all those options they have to choose from. I mean, they've got so much depth on this team. Marco van Staden on the bench, Jan-Hendrik Wessels on the bench, Kobus Visser on the bench, Stedman Gans on the bench. All these guys would be starting at most of the other teams in the competition. So to see those guys on the bench just shows how much depth this team really has. And I mean, Cheswell Uester didn't even play, and they brought in a guy like Stravino Jacobs as well. So a massive win for the Bulls. Unfortunate way to end the season for Munster. They will probably leave the season with a lot of what ifs, because they kind of were missing those really big time players in their team. But they've got next season to try push for it. Munster is a very successful team historically, so they will bounce back from this. Moving on to the next game, we had the Stormers versus Cardiff. I was stressed for the Stormers for this one. I really believe that Cardiff could have pulled off a result here. And I have to give so much credit to Cardiff. They pitched up to Cape Town and they played a very good game. Now, they didn't play winning rugby from the get-go. They tried to let the Stormers make the mistakes and the Stormers just didn't. The Stormers capitalized. But Cardiff making the playoffs, going to Cape Town and being in it for a little period of time is honestly a testament to how far that team has come from the beginning of the season, where me personally, I thought every time my team plays Cardiff, it's going to be an easy win. Now they're showing what they have. They have what it takes to become a much better team in this competition. They've got some good Welsh internationals as well that have built the experience throughout the Six Nations, and I think that Wales team is going to get so much better throughout the year as well. So I just see the Cardiff players and the Cardiff team benefiting as well from the international games coming up, and I think this team's going to be a really good team going forward as well. Stormers with a big performance there. I think guys like Rua now being back and just being fit for these games really made a massive difference to the team. Sasha Ngomazulu is injured now, so that's going to be a bit of a massive setback for the Stormers going forward, but Yuri Matia is still a very good player there. Will they bring Yakin Ahmed for these games? Probably not from the bench. I think they'll probably bring Warwick Galant into a utility back position on the bench, or Wandisile Simelane as well. But I think Yuri Matia probably is the guy that will be the fly half going forward into the next game, and I think Damian Willemse can cover if need be. So I don't think they'll move things around too much, but it is a worry that their best player right now is the one that unfortunately got injured. I have to give a shout out as well Ntutuko Mchunu, man of the match, also one of those guys that definitely deserves a Springbok call up this year. He's been absolutely electric, one of the fastest props in World Rugby, one of the most explosive props in World Rugby as well. I remember playing against him in high school, and he was still that same size when he was 16 years old, that same speed, and now moving him from 8th man to prop was honestly a stroke of genius, and I think him moving to the Stormers has been the best thing for his career. So the Stormers have a big game ahead of them because they're going to be playing against Leinster, who beat the Lions 59 points to 10. From the get-go, it just didn't look like the Lions had a chance. The Lions had a few injuries, yes, but I don't think that was going to stop Leinster from honestly battering the Lions. They were missing some key players, but the Lions haven't even won a game away from home in months, it seems. I actually don't know if they've won a game away from home this entire season, which just shows how much differently they play at home to when they play away from home. So this Lions team, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Their first URC playoff, so a lot of credit goes to them, their first playoff appearance. But they just didn't have what it takes to kind of compete with a top team like Leinster. And Leinster didn't even play their best players. So that is a worrying side for the Lions. But they will come back next season with a lot of experience gained and some young players in the under-20s from this year that I think will have a massive impact next season. Just be fully prepared to see Ethan Adams at number 12 and Henku van Wyk at number 13 next year. That is going to be, honestly, a centre combination to watch for years to come for the Springboks as well. It's going to be absolutely awesome. That being said as well, Jorenzo Julius and Ethan Hooker at the Sharks as well. So there's a lot of good kind of centre combinations to build for the future happening in South Africa. So keep an eye out for those guys. But that being said, the Lions just started off on the back foot. And once you go away from home to a really kind of poised team like Leinster, if you start on the back foot, there's no coming back from that. So it was unfortunate to see how the Lions played. I saw a lot of people in the comments also saying that the whole season, the Lions had a very good kicking game, but they tried to run everything from their own 22 and from their own half in this game, which I also did see that they tried to kind of change things up when they just didn't stick to the kind of style of rugby that suits them. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board next season, but I cannot wait to see the Lions playing again. And now talking about Leinster, a very good performance from Leinster. Sam Prendergast with a massive performance. Very good to see a guy like him playing with so much confidence. The centre combination of Jamie Osborne and Rico Ioane seemed to work well as well. We all know on this channel what I think of Jamie Osborne. Such a high class player. Honestly, I think him at centre could be honestly a stroke of genius for the future. He looks so good in the center position. His distributing is really good. His playmaking ability is good. His physicality is good. I think he is one of those players that is so underrated in World Rugby and is definitely one to watch for the future. No Kieran Frawley as well. Him going to Connacht I think is going to be a really good move for him and for Connacht. Where will they play him? I'm not too sure. Unless Josh Ioane is going somewhere else, I'm not too sure what they're going to do there. But Leinster have a lot of explaining to do for not playing Kieran Frawley in this game, in my opinion. But Leinster with a massive performance, and as I said, I will be releasing my preview and predictions for the semi-finals right after this. So if you want to see those previews and predictions, go have a look right after this. And if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Let me know who you thought played the best out of all these teams this weekend. Who was your player of the week as well? And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.